I have a confession to make. I'm not this whiz kid kind of coder. I've been working professionally as a coder, as a software developer now for almost 5 years, from working at a startup, focusing on backend, to working at a large corporation, focusing on front end, leading a team of developers, becoming a senior developer. So how did I get here if I'm not that great at coding? Well, today I want to sit down with you and I want to explain to you in this video what I mean with I'm not great at coding. It's not as simple as it might seem. I know there are times where I'm still Googling about for loops or Googling about different algorithms, and I think to myself, you should know this. What is going on? You teach others how to code. You mentor others around coding. What is going on? Also, before we get further into this video, I want to say a huge thank you to Speakly for sponsoring part of it. Similar to learning coding languages or programming languages, there is an art to learning spoken languages. And with Speakly, there are 2 founders of it, both polyglots who know 7 languages. So they clearly have uncovered or unlocked what the technique is to learn languages quickly. With the Speakly methodology, it helps you learn languages 5 times faster compared to what you're accustomed to, which means getting from 0 to solid speaking skills in around 3 to 4 months. And I know for myself when I downloaded the app. By the way, it's available on both Android and iOS. I immediately went to German. Fun fact for those of you who don't know, I am half German, half Swedish, and started learning. It was about 30 minutes a day, and I've been doing it now for, I would say, the past 3 weeks, and there are some improvements. Let's give it a little test here. Let's try hello, how are you? Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
How you doing?
Oh gosh, it's so stressful doing it on camera. Hello, wie geht es dir?
What do you want to discuss now? My
Promise
favorite
I'm
color?
better on camera. Anyways, back to Speakly though. It is this great app that offers everything you need to know to learn a language. Learning a language is so important, and it's a great way to really have other skills or other skill sets that you can show off as well when you are interviewing. And it really shows that you're willing to learn new things, take on new challenges. And with Speakly, it is the only language learning application that actually lets you choose how you want to study new vocabulary. And I think that's really important because everyone learns so differently. So maybe you focus on writing, maybe multiple choice, or a combination. I link them down below, so make sure to go check them out. And to get to this answer, we need to go back a bit, back in time, back to the early days when I was first learning how to code. I'm going to take you on a little journey with me. So I want you to sit down, visualize kind of my journey throughout coding to really get to what exactly I'm referring to. Let's go all the way back to high school. We're going way back now. When I was in high school, I'll be honest with you, I was not that great of a student. I did not get great grades, especially in math. And that's something that throughout my entire life, I thought I needed to be a math whiz in order to be a coder. So I instantly wrote it off that, if I don't have these math skills, coding is not for me. However, fast forward to university, ended up taking a very basic coding course. It's like, wow, I can do this. You don't need to be a math whiz. You need to have logic and problem solving skills. But those 2 things, they can be developed. So I ended up going to a coding boot camp. Spent most of my time probably crying in the bathroom, having bad imposter syndrome, but I learned a lot. But most importantly, I learned how to learn. I think that's a skill that a lot of developers really need to achieve or adapt to, is learning how to learn and learning how they learn in a quick manner, because we're often picking up new technologies quickly. But then I realized something. After almost 5 years in this industry, it took me quite a while to understand this and realize this is everyone thinks they're bad at coding. It's not just me. I'm not alone on this. Everyone who is actually a good coder or decent coder thinks they're bad at coding. But why is this? Why do some of the best coders out there, I'm definitely not one of the best coders out there, but why do so many people think they are bad at coding and they're not really that bad? Well, I think it goes back to the fundamentals. If you look back at being a coder or coding, you're constantly learning new things. If you want to be a good coder, you're always going to be uncomfortable by learning new things, put out of your comfort zone, learning new technologies. Otherwise, you're going to be stagnant. And yes, you'll feel very confident in your coding skills, but are you actually that good of a coder if you're not learning anything new? That is a very interesting question. And I truly think the answer to that is you're not. You have to be learning new things, willing to get uncomfortable in order to be a good coder, because technology is changing so rapidly that we need to attempt, and I say attempt because it's impossible, to keep up with it. But I also think another thing when it comes to coding and not being good at coding is if you want to be a really good coder, there is so much more to it than actually coding. I have seen people who are brilliant at what they do. They're very technically skilled. They can code anything. They're coding whizzes. But they lack other skills. And if you want to be good at anything, I really think you need to have the entire package. So you might be excellent at coding, but does it make you a good coder? Technically, yes. But does it make you a good software engineer or software developer? That is up for debate. In my opinion, I think you need to have more than just the coding skills. You need to have the personable skills. Are you willing to communicate? Are you willing to work together in teams? Those are things that are often missed when you are coding. Well, that brings me to my next question I really want to address. If you are someone who is learning to code, or maybe you're like myself and have been in the industry for a long time, whatever your case is, if you are feeling like you are just this terrible programmer or terrible coder, how do you really shift your mindset from that? Because at a certain point, it can become almost debilitating where you completely freeze, you don't actually learn anything new, you question your skill set, you don't go for that interview, or in some cases, which I have been there, you flop an interview just because of you get in your own head. And I think this question is really important to address because I know so many of you have felt this way. I mean, the numbers and the data around imposter syndrome and feeling like we don't belong or feeling like there isn't this place for us unless we are these genius coders. There's a lot of us out there. And I think at the end of the day, you need to take a step back, look at your skill set, not just your coding skill set, but your full package. Are you showing up to work every day with a positive attitude? No, I'm not saying you have to be, this super peppy, happy person every day, but are you showing up to work, giving it your all? Are you coming up with different problems to solve or solving different problems? There's so much more to it. And although coding is so important, of course, it's not the end all be all in our jobs. And I think we really need to recognize that. You need to build beautiful code that solves problems and all this other stuff. But if you aren't doing that in a team setting, building together, working together, at the end of the day, it's gonna be really lonely. So what are some signs that you actually are a bad coder and it's not imposter syndrome? I think throughout this video I speak about how it's okay to feel like you're a bad coder or to question your skills, but what if you actually are just a bad coder and you suck at coding? Well, I think there's different ways you can kind of identify this. The number one thing is that if you are coding and you're really hating it, like dreading coding all the time, even if you are expert at coding but you hate it, I would say you're a bad coder. And let me explain what I mean by that. I mean that if you really are not passionate about something or enjoy doing something, naturally you won't excel at it or grow at it as quickly. Yes, you might be able to find it easy or get the fundamentals down, but are you able to pick up new technology quickly, pick up new languages quickly? Maybe, but if you have no passion or interest to do it, I would say it's a give and take. There's a possibility you're just going to be a bad coder. Now, some things that don't make you a bad coder, but we think make us a bad coder include failing at interviews, not being able to solve algorithms, having to Google everything. I feel like one thing I've Googled my entire career and I will continue to Google my entire career. Googling is a skill set at this point. Hopefully over the years you learn to Google better and smarter, but it's something that you will have to do all the time as a software developer. And I really wanted to make this video and talk about these feelings of, oh, I'm such a bad coder or I'm not that great at coding, because there's this mythical unicorn that exists in the tech world of this coder who is this whiz kid genius who can solve anything very quickly, doesn't need help from anyone, sits in their basement, doesn't speak to anyone. And yes, although that does exist, that is not what a good coder, full package really, in my opinion, looks like. I think there's so much more to it than that. Okay, I'm gonna stop this video here, but I hope you found it very valuable and insightful. For anyone who is struggling, feeling like they're the worst coder, we all think that. And there are people who are worse than you, I promise you. We got this. We just need to recognize that it's a journey and these feelings are totally normal and we just need to navigate them in the best way possible. Also, I'm curious, this is one of my first videos where I'm doing this kind of style, moving around, just kind of like, I don't know, do you like it? Are you into this style? I feel like it's more authentic and true to myself, so let me know your feedback down below in the comments. Thanks, everyone.
This that back in my back flow, we back again so highly. This that back in my back flow, we back to change the climate. This that back in my back flow, we bring the force like Tommy. Back in my in my bag, Flo. Back in my, back in my bag, yeah.
Hallo, wie geht es dir?
Hallo, wie geht es dir?
Hallo, wie geht es dir?